It would be a gloomy day for the Leaf Village. They had lost 1,000 men. This is actually Futurami, technically speaking. But then again, the Rami that's about to talk in like 5 seconds is also Futurami, so I don't really know about that one. Anyways, technically speaking, for all of you guys, this will be past Rami, so just take that with a grain of salt. But with that being said, this is a preview into the What If. It's pretty gruesome, and so literally as soon as it kicked off, I mentioned that 1,000 Leaf Ninja had been killed. With that being said, there is going to be about 8 minutes of backstory onto this What If. I just want to make that clear. So if that is not what you enjoy, then just skip to the time on the screen, okay? Anyways, I love you all, and thank you so much for everything. Anyways, with that being said, future Rami, but present Rami X out, and the past Rami X from this timeline will begin, and then I'll come in and record the rest. Yeah, it will totally make sense when it comes up. Anyways, Rami X out. Rami X back in a video. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Share the video to a friend who likes this, or just anime content in general. Comment down below what if suggestions, or just how you felt about the video, or literally anything. And with that being said, if I didn't say this already, join my Discord server down below. Hit that red subscribe button, like the video, and we can now begin. Also, that subscribe button is pretty important because I want to hit 25k before Christmas. Anyways, what if? What if Naruto? Or, I'm so stupid. I'm so sorry about that. Well, I'm not stupid at all, just so we are clear here. Anyway, I'm really contemplating editing this all out. But this is my 14th take of this video. And this video is never going to get done if I keep messing up the intro. Okay. Rami X back with another video. As the title suggests, this is What If Naruto. This isn't What If Naruto. This is what if the 4th grade ninja war happened earlier. Yeah. This is my 15th take of this video. So I've gone through some trial and error with this one. To support all of that trial and error. No, I'm just kidding. I was just going to say the like and subscribe, though you guys definitely should do that, as I do want to hit 25k before Christmas. Comment down below your thoughts and feelings about the video, and with that being said, make sure to join my Discord server down below, or support the channel in whatever way you wish, and we can now begin the video. We begin the story off with how this war starts. This is the backstory of the What If. This war would be a war fought between 3 nations mainly, but technically 4. The first, and I guess you could say the most aggressive nation in this war, is the Cloud Village. The counter-aggressive nation, most comparably to the Cloud Village, was the Leaf Village, naturally. And the 2 other nations in this war were the Mist Village and the Stone Village. Now, some of you may be asking why the Sand aren't partaking in this war. Well, it's due to a treaty that they signed with the other villages that allowed them to basically have their lands as a safe zone, although it came at a price. With their land being a safe zone, it was usually close to the Sand's border where the Cloud and Leaf Village would fight. This meant that this version of Gaara was not affected so much so by Shukaku, though of course that did affect him a lot. Nor was he as affected by the harsh treatment of Rasa. But instead, in this timeline, he becomes someone similar to Nagato in the way that they both emotionally shared their pain. or rather how they were both emotionally affected by pain in this timeline. With that being said, this Gaara would witness war. Several wars happen right before his eyes. He saw men, good men that were just like him and literally everybody he saw in his life. To Gaara, all of these people had families. Wives, daughters, sons, pets, family. They all had lives that he, on a day-to-day basis, saw get stripped away from them. This drove Gaara to become stronger, to be able to protect the ones that he loved. Because even though the Sand Village was a safe zone of sorts, who's to say that one day that wouldn't change? That one day the treaty would fall through. That one day the treaty would no longer matter. And that his loved ones would be put in danger. Because in this timeline, his uncle is still alive. And to a lot of the other people that he cared about in his life. Which wasn't many, but it was some. With that being said, enough of Gaara. The other villages, I guess you could say, attacked. So what I mean by that is the other villages attacked the Leaf Village. Now the next question is, how did this happen? Well, it's actually really, really simple. The Cloud Village, being the aggressive village that they were actually stated to be on multiple occasions within the story, decided to attack the Leaf Village, a village that they saw as being vulnerable. And knowing that their Nine-Tails Jinchuriki was barely even 14 years old, which, well, at this point Naruto's not, as this story is taking place when Naruto is 12 years old, they knew that the Nine-Tails wasn't even a perfect Jinchuriki. So they were all but defenseless. With that being said, now we need an explanation to the other great nations and why they partake in this war. The Mist is solely doing this to obtain more land, and possibly if they can beat the Cloud to the punch, then they can even obtain the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. And lastly, the Stone Village. The Stone Village, holding a immense amount of hate for Konoha due to, well, let's just say the Minato accident. What I mean by that is when Minato dispatched of thousands of stone shinobi. With that being said, they all hold a deep hatred for Minato, and Naruto, quite literally being the son of Minato, made him a #1 target on their list. Never mind the fact that, well, the Leaf Village is the Leaf Village. Now, some of you may be wondering, what? That doesn't make sense. How would they know that Naruto is the son of Minato? Well, that is one of the other changes in this What If. It is common known knowledge that Naruto is the son of Minato. And thus, this Naruto has been trained. He is much stronger than the Naruto that all of us see in the original canon. And you could actually compare his strength to an older Naruto, the 16-year-old Naruto that we see to, I guess you could say, in the beginning of Shippuden. And there is one difference as well. This Naruto, I don't know if that sounded really, really weird, but it probably did. So to sum it all up, this Naruto is different from the Shippuden Naruto in strength due to the fact that he not only has, well, obviously, the Rasengan, the Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu, and literally every other jutsu that Shippuden Naruto has, but he also has swordsmanship. So he is a swordsman in this timeline. Never mind the fact that he has advanced sealing jutsus and is capable of already knowing / using the wind style chakra nature, as well as the water style chakra nature and the fire style chakra nature. Pretty weird chakra natures to give somebody out of the blue, right? Well, like I was saying, this is kind of the backstory of the What If. And this Naruto already has wind style, fire style, and water style. The difference being that this Naruto is just born with it. There is evidence to support that this is possible because, well, his mother and father have access to a few of these chakra natures. Minato having access to fire style and wind style, and Kushina having access to water style, leads into Naruto having all three. With that being said, those are not the only chakra natures that they have, but those are the only chakra natures that I wanted to give this Naruto. With that being said, we can really just kick off the war now. And one other thing before we truly begin, as I do know that this has been, roughly 8 minutes of backstory onto this What If. Let's just put it simply. Most of these ninja are stronger. The Konoha 11, to be exact. And with that being said, one last change. This war started nearly exactly a month after Naruto had become a Genin. And as I already stated before, this Genin Naruto is as strong as his Shippuden counterpart, but like a heck of a lot stronger than that as well due to his uncanny abilities. Like swordsmanship, stealing jutsus, and access to water, wind, and fire chakra natures. With that being said, we can now kick off the video. It would be a gloomy day for the Leaf Village. They have lost 1,000 men. Their age didn't matter. They were all massacred. Cloud Ninja slaughtered them. The Mist could care less about Leaf Village Ninja and did the exact same. And the Stone Ninja strong enough also protect, or rather did, kill Leaf Shinobi. Genin, Chunin, Jonin, Special Jonin, Anbu, Medical Ninja. This war was gruesome and showed good luck to no one on the battlefield. Each day was a bloodbath, and the young lives of Konoha, specifically the young ninja of Konoha, were born to battle, raised to battle even. It is this battle-hardened Konoha 11 that is sent onto the battlefield, where they take multiple lives. Not one or two. We're talking dozens and possibly even hundreds killed by the Konoha 11 alone. With that being said, the two people with the highest confirmed kill counts were Naruto and Sasuke, who in this war grew a brother-like bond. Due to the war and things being so scarce for the Leaf Village, each member of the Konoha 11 became bonded to one another, sharing so much, I guess you could say, love for one another. For instance, this Sakura isn't actually a dick to Naruto, and instead is actually kind and shows love for Naruto. Whilst in the original timeline, we obviously could not say the same. With that being said, Naruto is also a lot different. As for every single other member of Konoha 11, the war forced them to be different in a way. And thus it changed to who they are and created versions of themselves that cannot be compared to their canon counterparts. Although obviously they do have most of the same character traits. For instance, Shikamaru being lazy, or Sakura having a huge temper, or Ino and Sakura always fighting over things, or Sasuke always having a cold demeanor, sometimes warming up to people like Naruto, or Naruto just being borderline dumb sometimes. But these things are different, because whilst Naruto is dumb, he's also very, very smart. Because, well, he is. And he's also been raised as the son of the 4th Hokage in this timeline, so he kind of had to be smart in a way for that. All of Konoha 11, on the 21st day of the war, would be promoted to Chunin after their efforts. With that being said, they had proven, after 6 more months later, that they had the potential to be very powerful shinobi. With that being said, they would actually be offered a mission, a B-rank mission to take out 50 ninja. Near a certain waterfall which, if taken over successfully by the Leaf Village, could lead to an ambush on the Mist's forces. And thus they attacked. Konoha 11 gladly accepted the mission, and all 11 of them went on the mission. With that being said, it was pretty much light work for them, and they took out most of the ninja without a problem. With that being said, they later returned to Hiruzen to report, and Hiruzen was glad. This was true. Taking over the waterfall would allow them to get an ambush off on the Mist Village, and that's exactly what they did, using the opportunity exactly how they wanted to. With that being said, the Mist's forces were, I guess you could say, not deplenished. I do not know. I just used the word deplenished. I am sincerely sorry about that. Diminished is what I meant to say. With that being said, their forces were completely diminished, but obviously the Mist is a very big village. One ambush is not going to take down the whole Mist's forces, but it did help the Leaf get an advantage on the Mist as far as the war with all three nations went. When you're being attacked by three nations at the same time, it's kind of important to have something like that. By the way, to note here, the Uchiha clan is still alive, for any of you guys wondering. The change in this timeline is that Koto Natsukami is actually used by Shisui, and therefore this war/coup d'etat is stopped. And Danzo in this time just isn't as greedy for the Koto Natsukami, because he's not filled in about its use, and instead, Shisui takes the time to use the Koto Natsukami on his own without telling the elders or even Itachi, who he knew was funneling information/feeding information to the elders. With that being said, Naruto in this timeline is going to go on a mission alone one day. Due to the efforts of the Konoha 11 and how strong they had now been perceived, he would go on another mission. And it would be here on this mission that Naruto would immediately request backup. This mission was supposed to be a C-rank mission, and originally it did look like one, but it turned out to be much worse, much different even. The ninja, all of them, were Chunin and above. None were Genins like the mission was outlined to be. And it was then that the Leaf realized that the mission might have been a ploy to lure in Genin of the Leaf Village so that they could be slaughtered. It was then that Naruto came to the realization that if backup doesn't arrive soon enough, then he may very well be massacred. As I explained earlier, that this Naruto is as strong as his Shippuden counterpart, but basically double his strength. This Naruto does have access to some of the Nine Tails chakra. He has mastered about 3 to 4 tails of it, and can use them of his own volition. He doesn't even have to talk to the Nine Tails at all. With that being said, Naruto would use 2 of the 3 tails of the Nine Tails, which would allow him to have enough time to dispatch of most of the ninja, whilst the Konoha 11 arrived. Upon the Konoha 11 arriving, ninja still remained, and they would basically dispatch the rest of them. Sorry to burp there, hiccup even. With that being said, shortly afterwards, 21 more ninja appeared. Double the Konoha 11's number. Shortly afterwards, the ninja kept pouring out. Sasuke with his Sharingan and Neji with his Byakugan noticed a count of 95 ninja. It was then that this number kept going up and up, and they didn't know how many ninja would be there. How many ninja were there? And as they saw it, all of these ninja were easily Jonin and Chunin. And for the Konoha 11, they would be slaughtered if they continued to fight. And thus they retreated to fight another day. But it wasn't that simple. They couldn't just escape with no consequence, you could say. This many ninja chasing down, 11 Chunin? It would have been light work. piece of cake even. With that being said, upon trying to retreat and being halted by the ninja, Naruto would ultimately make the sacrifice to stay behind. Originally, all of them would object, but Naruto would place a genjutsu on them all. The only person who could avoid this genjutsu was Sasuke. That's what Naruto thought anyways. But Neji was also able to avoid it with his own ocular dojutsu, the Byakugan, which didn't necessarily negate the genjutsu, but it did allow him to see that Naruto was using a genjutsu on them. And, well, obviously feeling the effects of the genjutsu, it did allow Neji to understand. Neji understood that this genjutsu was being used by Naruto to basically force them to think that running away was the right option and that Naruto was going to catch up with them. Even though Neji knew that Naruto was sacrificing himself for them. With that being said, he understood that the 10 of them took priority over the one of him, not knowing that, well, the Nine Tails is very, very important. And with that being said, they left. One new change, now that we have spoken of the Nine Tails, is that this Naruto has the full Nine Tails rather than just half. And that will be very important later on. I mark my words on that one. With that being said, Naruto would realize that Sasuke had broken free of the genjutsu, as Sasuke just stood there as the rest of the Konoha 11 left, including Neji Hyuga. Sasuke grit his teeth at Naruto, as he would punch a nearby tree in anger. Naruto! Naruto stayed silent, looking at the ground, nothing to say to his best friend. Naruto, damn it! Answer me now! Naruto looked up at Sasuke, sweat trickling down Naruto's forehead. He would quickly wipe it off. Look at yourself, Naruto. You can barely even stand, but yet you're sacrificing yourself just so that we can live? How is that fair? You're the Nine Tails, for God's sake. Do you not know what that means? What exactly does that mean, Sasuke? That most of the villagers that have lost people due to the Nine Tails attack all those years ago hate me? That I'm looked at as lesser because I have a demon inside of me? A monster? What exactly does me having the Nine Tails entail that makes me any more important than any of you? It means that without you, there is no longer the balance that we've kept for so long within the Leaf Village. The Leaf Village will be annihilated without the Nine Tails. Well, maybe I would have felt a lot more confident about going with you guys and just continuing to retreat. Maybe I would have created 100 shadow clones to stop and halt them instead of... See, Naruto? You're too tired for this. Let's just go already. You didn't let me finish. Maybe I would have used, 100 shadow clones to stop them and keep running. But instead, I decided to stay here, on my own, and protect my friends. Because my whole life, I've been seen as inferior. So maybe if I just die protecting the heirs to several of the greatest clans in the Hidden Leaf Village, saving my whole entire squad, I die as a hero, and the son of the 4th Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. Instead of the knuckle-headed son of the 4th Hokage, who had a demon in his belly. You understand? Don't you, Sasuke? So it really has to come down to this, doesn't it, Naruto? Come down to what? Me sacrificing myself for my friends? Hell yeah. No, not that. Behind Sasuke's back, he held a kunai. Whilst holding the kunai in his left hand, which was behind his back and out of Naruto's vision, he began to perform hand signs. When they brought us into this war, they told us that in the circumstances that Naruto Uzumaki ever transformed into the Nine Tails, and, well, to put it blunt, got out of control, that we would have to subdue him. I think, here, now in this moment, Naruto Uzumaki is out of control. What exactly are you implying? I'm implying that I'm gonna put you down, Naruto. You're gonna kill me? What? That doesn't even make sense. No, I could never kill my best friend. But what I will be doing is disrupting the seal that holds the Nine Tails within you. I won't break it. Actually, I'll only be tightening it. But just tight enough to force you into a deep sleep. Do you truly and honestly believe that will work on me? I haven't exerted any of the Nine Tails' chakra at this stage, besides earlier when I was fighting. Why the hell would what? Why the hell would a jutsu like that work? You're one with your seal. Maybe not the Nine Tails, but it's within you. It will work, I'm certain of it. The seal then began to form within Sasuke's palm, as Sasuke now pulled out a kunai, which now had seal markings all over it. His hand and arm was also covered in these very seal markings. Naruto, I'm sure you know what this is, and what it means for you. Yeah, I'm certain. That's why I'm not gonna let you touch me with that. I'm gonna beat you, and then I'm gonna have my clones walk you home. Do you hear how childish that sounds, Naruto? This isn't a war. And I found in life that home isn't a place where you can sleep. It's a place where you're comfortable. Whatever. It's over for you, Naruto. Correction, it's over for you. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto would reply to Sasuke with 26 shadow clones, which bombarded him. While Sasuke defended himself from these shadow clones, Naruto quickly emerged from a few bushes behind Sasuke, tightly grabbing onto him with a chokehold, as Sasuke could no longer move his arms, dropping the kunai that held the seal on it, as his seal on his arm would begin to diminish as well. Naruto would then watch as Sasuke slowly ran out of oxygen. As Naruto looked down in disbelief at the situation, he was really gonna die. And the one person that could save him was now passing out from extreme lack of oxygen. He would never become the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. And he would never continue his father's legacy. All of these things rushed through Naruto's mind, as it was enough for him to continue. He got so lost in his thoughts that he didn't even realize that Sasuke had already passed out. It was then that he broke out of his confused daze, shaking his head a little and creating some more shadow clones, to continue to fend off the shinobi that were after him in a squad. Naruto then took 5 shadow clones out of the many shadow clones that he created to take Sasuke back to the Leaf Village. Sasuke would awake atop the shadow clones, Naruto in the distance of his vision. As Sasuke would extend his palm outwards towards Naruto, his body was too weak, and he was unable to move. It would be then that he would later be transported back to the Leaf Village by Naruto's shadow clones, which would quickly disappear to go and help Naruto in his time of need, you could say. It would be here that we now switch back to Naruto, who at this point is currently fighting all of the shinobi, which at this point now numbered a total of 1,000. Naruto has taken out a good deal of them, about 240 so far, but his chakra reserves aren't nearly enough to deal with so many people. And it's inevitable that soon enough he's going to run out of chakra and die. Naruto would continue the battle with each and every one of the shinobi, displaying his adept mastery over taijutsu. It would be here, using his taijutsu, that he would truly grow. What I'm saying is, during this fight, he had actually grown in strength. While he was fighting these people, he had been getting stronger and stronger. And, well, on top of that, even stronger. Naruto continued the fight, exhausted, until he had taken out about 430 of the ninja. Naruto, now exhausted, chakra deprived, bleeding on almost every part of his body he could think of. A headache and migraine that hurt like hell, literally and figuratively. And, well, every bone in his body feeling as if it had been broken 1,000 times. No matter his illness, his condition, and the damage that he had sustained in the fight, he carried on. It didn't matter that hundreds upon hundreds of shinobi were running after him. It didn't matter that he wasn't, well, to put it lightly, at the best he could be, and it didn't matter that in this moment he knew that he was going to die here. He still stood valiantly, looking deep into the eyes of the many shinobi that stared him down with swords in their hands. Shuriken and kunai flying towards him, paper bombs flying past him. He had a smile on his face, a smirk, a grimace even. And it was there in that moment that he smiled in the face of death. The shinobi would begin to clear, because it had seemed like a special ninja had appeared. The shinobi all cleared, so that a certain ninja could pass through. His name was Zabuza, accompanied by a boy named Haku. Naruto had heard of Zabuza and Haku, the mercenaries for hire, who had been hired by both the Cloud Village and the Mist Village to do their dirty work. He heard that the boy possessed a rare Kekkei Genkai, known as Ice Release. And he heard that the man behind the operation, the muscle even, as well as the brains in some way or another, was the famed shinobi Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the hidden Mist Village, and a former member of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen. Naruto stood in awe as he looked at Zabuza. Zabuza smirked. So you're Naruto Uzumaki, the genin promoted Chunin not too long ago. I heard you've killed many stone shinobi, Mist and Cloud. Oh, and, well, not to mention... whatever, it doesn't matter. I also hear that you are the Nine-Tails of Jinchuriki. Is that correct? I can tell that you're out of breath here, Naruto. And maybe you can tell too. But as your condition is telling me, I deal with you like cakework. You're not wrong, Zabuza Momochi. I see. My reputation precedes me, as does mine. You've heard of me, yet we've never even met before. Well, isn't that the beauty in life in a way? Right, Naruto? Yeah, you're right. Naruto almost fell to his knees as he said that, picking himself up and holding a strong demeanor. Something about how Zabuza was talking to him was awfully calming. Zabuza later brandished his sword, as Naruto grit his teeth, feeling a sharp pain in his left calf. Please. I've been through enough. I know. If your eyes are good enough, you can see all the way back there. There's a tally of the amount of ninja you have killed. That man over there, he merely records the losses. What? I couldn't even see him before you pointed him out to me. At the end of this war, will all make sense to you? Each of these battles is being recorded in some way or another. And eventually, the final statistics of the war will be a great win for the Leaf Village, or an utter annihilation. There's people like him all over the place. It's not weird at all. They just watch over battles, observing. It's a simple job for simple people. They don't get hurt because they're always in the back, and, well, you get the point. They practically survey battles. I'm not sure if he's allied with the Stone Shinobi here, or with the Leaf Village. Either way, whatever nation he's from, he'll report back to them the statistics of the battle. And that's how more casualties are created, on both sides, actually. They'll review all of the statistics and design their battle formations to counter that of the enemy nations. They are surveyors of battle. They're not important, though, so maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that. I just thought mentioning something that neither one of us are a part of would give us even ground to talk on. Why would you want to talk on me? What? Are you messing up your words? Maybe you should have some water. Zabuza would then pass Naruto a bottle of water, which Naruto would gladly accept, drinking it in less than 17 seconds. Naruto, also, by the way, that was a very random number. I don't know why I chose 17, but I did. Yeah. With that being said, Naruto would throw the water bottle to the ground as he stared down Zabuza. Zabuza would go on. I believe what you were going to ask me is why would I be here, wanting to talk rather than attacking you? Precisely. Why would Zabuza Momochi, the mercenary, want to talk to Naruto Uzumaki, the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki? Unless talking implies something more sinister. I assure you, I do not have plans that are sinister in any way. Although, I can tell you that if you do not agree to my terms, I may be forced to kill you. I give you this option here and now as a good faith from my lord. From your lord? His name is Orochimaru. Naruto's body ran cold for a minute, his blood thick as ice, as he stared deeply into Zabuza's eyes. Surveying his own area. Surveying, it kind of sounds like surveying, but he would survey his own area, looking left to right, above, beyond, behind himself, around each and every angle. Who did you say? I said Orochimaru. All hail Orochimaru. Zabuza went on to say. The Stone Ninja were silent. Haku would take off his mask as he would place it on the ground, now brandishing a smile on his face. Also, for the purpose of this what if, Haku will be gender fluid, meaning that he can identify as a male or a woman. As for his biological, I guess you could say, design, just to put it lightly, it doesn't really matter, and I will expand on that further if I decide to. If I don't, then I don't, and it's as simple as that. With that being said, Naruto was immediately mesmerized in Haku's smile as he continued to look around. Orochimaru? Naruto asked, questioning that very name itself. Zabuza said it once more. Yes, Orochimaru, the former Snake Sanin of the Hidden Leaf Village. That's when Naruto remembered a conversation he had with a village official known as Jiraiya, the Toad Sanin. Jiraiya had actually taught Naruto many things, like the Rasengan in this timeline, and even the Multi-Shadow Jutsu. But nevertheless, he was a village official, and this is how Naruto remembered it. If they were ever to encounter Orochimaru on the battlefield, they would run immediately. Abandon the mission, retrieve possible intel on Orochimaru, but do nothing more, and leave the scene. Hearing of followers of Orochimaru, he could not only think but to run, remembering the words of Jiraiya. But in his own situation, running didn't really seem like an option. Cornered by Stone Ninja, where the only people that seemed even remotely friendly were Orochimaru's minions, he'd have to go with Orochimaru's minions on that one. It was then that he continued to talk with Zabuza, as he asked what Orochimaru wanted with him. Zabuza would continue. "You're a member of the Konoha 11. Orochimaru does, well, want all of the Konoha 11, in some way or another, all possessing unique abilities. Except for one. Except for one? What do you mean?" "Oh, it's this pink-haired Kunoichi. Her name's, Sakura? Sakura Haruno or Haruna? I'm not really sure. But he said that she would be perfect to experiment with a native clan of the Leaf Village that does not possess a Kekkei Genkai. He did instruct me to receive her today on a mission. This very mission where you've been ambushed by, 1,000 stone shinobi? Sakura should have been easy pickings, and I was going to retrieve her for Lord Orochimaru. Unfortunately, it never happened. But fortunately for me, I believe that I've hit the jackpot in a different way. With you, Naruto Uzumaki. The Nine Tails Jinchuriki. I believe that you will do just well in satisfying Orochimaru. And thus that also makes me believe that if I do capture you, well, you'll... never mind. Orochimaru will be satisfied as all. Capture me? What exactly do you mean? Well, by capturing you, I will be able to deliver you to Orochimaru. The question is really a matter of if you'll go nicely. Go nicely? Well, I can either... Well, no, let me rephrase that. You can either join me, right? Join me, Zabuza Momochi, and accompany me to Orochimaru's hideout. One of his many hideouts that he is currently staying at in this very moment. Or, I will leave you here to die. To let, more than 500 stone shinobi kill you. What do you choose? What is your option? You know, my whole life I've just wanted to be recognized as more than the Hokage's son. And by some, more than the Demon Fox. Participating in this very great ninja war allowed me to do that. It gave me the strength and courage to be looked at as more than just a Demon Fox. And for that, you do not know how grateful I am. But being a member of the Leaf, I know where my loyalties lie. Before we even entered this war, we were told by a fellow Sannin of Orochimaru's that if we ever encountered him, that we were to run. That Orochimaru is a rogue ninja of the Leaf Village. That Orochimaru has taken many of the Leaf's bright talent, experimented on them, and never returned them back to their rightful place, their rightful homes. Orochimaru is a rogue ninja, and if I were to align myself with him, I would be considered no more than the lousy fox that teamed up with the lousy snake. You get me? Do you understand, Zabuza? Haku's smile quickly turned to a straight face, as he quickly put on his mask. I see, Zabuza would say, gripping tightly onto his blade and slamming it down into the ground. I suppose, if I do not capture you today, I shall spread tales of how valiant Naruto Uzumaki was to my master, Lord Orochimaru. I would at least like to give him a taste of your power. Of my power? Yes, of your power. And thus, we are going to clash blades, Naruto. Huh? Like I said, I will be leaving you here. That is definite. There is no doubt that that is what will happen. But, in turn, I will be... Zabuza would yawn. Retrieving something else that will be just as valuable as keeping my end of the promise I gave you and letting you die here. And that is? Well, if I told you what it is, that'd leave no fun for it, wouldn't it? Zabuza would quickly disappear and reappear, as he became once more visible in Naruto's sight. This time, Zabuza was rushing towards Naruto at high speeds. Naruto didn't know how to react, and thus he stood still, gripping onto his own blade tightly. He outstretched it forwards. He then did a blocking motion as he clashed blades with Zabuza. With the sheer force of connecting blades with Naruto, Zabuza's blade, the Executioner's blade, would be broken in half. Zabuza then watched as the piece of his blade that was broken off by Naruto slipped into the dirt beneath them. Zabuza then smirked as he pulled out a kunai. Gesturing for Haku to come over to where Zabuza was currently, he threw a kunai right past Naruto that slid right past his hair, cutting off a okay portion of his hair. It was visible to the human eye, at least. With that being said, Naruto noticed it and tilted his head as Haku let out his palm. Now in Haku's palm was Naruto's hair, and an okay amount of it. Naruto's not like bald or anything, and it wasn't even like it looks like he lost a ton of hair, but it's a pretty good amount of hair. Haku would then later place this very hair into a small container, as Haku would shut it. With that, he would put it within his robe, as Haku would disappear. Zabuza would then smirk. It's been great, Naruto, fighting you here. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to, well, let's just say, get back to my dear Lord Orochimaru. Why are you so loyal to him? Answer me that before you go. I was a mercenary who wanted revenge against Akage. There's no way that I would be as far as, or rather as close as, to achieving the goal as I am now. That's why. And thus, my reason, it's really simple. Lord Orochimaru gave me strength and power. That is why I'm so loyal to him. He also gave me a unique Kekkei Genkai. As you can see, most of these stone ninja have been stagnant in their movements. Actually, they haven't moved a muscle. Did you realize that, Naruto? Yeah, actually I did. Well, as long as my own chakra reserves overpower somebody else's, I can stop their time clock entirely. What? Yeah. Handy ability, am I right? He bestowed upon me a curse mark as well that amplifies my power. But a Kekkei Genkai too? Time release, as I call it. Well, I ought to be off on my way. But first, Zabuza would snap his finger, and then he would snap it again. One of these stone ninja will come charging at me. 100%, I'm sure of it. And when they do, I will cut them down with my blade. For what reason? Just to take a life? No. When we clashed blades, you broke the Executioner's blade in half. The Executioner's blade is special, along with all of the 7 swords of the Mist Village. I'm not gonna get into detail with it, but when sorry about that. I do not really know why that sound was created, but it was. Anyways, with that being said, back to the story. When I slice off... no, let me reword that. If I cut into the skin... Ugh, I hate how I'm wording this. Well, to keep it simple, if blood touches my blade, the iron within the blood will regenerate the sword itself. Time would replay for all of the stone shinobi as Zabuza's prediction came true. One of the stone shinobi came rushing towards him, ready to attack. It was then that Zabuza would cut the stone shinobi clean in half. As Zabuza's executioner's blade then regrew, Naruto watched in awe. Huh. Wow. Well, Naruto, have fun dying out here. I truly would have wished that I could take you home to Lord Orochimaru, but subduing you against your own wishes wouldn't be in Lord Orochimaru's wishes. Unless you were quite literally on the brink of death. Obviously, adding someone just as strong, if not stronger than me, to the fray of people under Lord Orochimaru would diminish my own role. So, leaving you here to die would actually be a little in my best interest. I'm sorry, Naruto. It truly could have ended differently. Maybe you will be found by Lord Orochimaru. I believe that he's actually quite close by at this moment. Either that or he's already entered his hideout. Well, hunky-dory, as they say. A term I picked up over in the land of snow. I shall take my leave now, Naruto Uzumaki. Wait, before you leave, I have to tell you something, Zabuza. Huh? What do you have to tell me? You're insane. Huh? What do you mean? Like you're actually insane. The power from that curse mark. I can smell it all over you. You're insane. You're psychotic. Oh, I'm aware. I was so stern before I obtained the powers of the curse mark. I became a bit of a maniac once I finally accessed my true potential, as you could call it. Was that all, Naruto? Yeah, I just thought you should know. Alright then. Bye-bye. Zabuza would then disappear. With that being said, Naruto now stood at the helm of 500 plus stone shinobi, who would now violently attack Naruto. After 2 more hours of fighting, Naruto had killed 100 more ninja. But it didn't matter how many ninja he killed. As more time progressed, he killed another 70. Now, all that was left was a number of 400 shinobi. But it was to no avail. Naruto was already all but dead. It would be then that a stone shinobi would come behind Naruto, slicing his back. Naruto would then look back behind him as a gathering of stone shinobi were behind him. It was then that he stared at all of them as they cut into his body. Naruto was now being surrounded and swarmed. As Naruto would slowly be defeated by the stone shinobi. Little by little, one by one, they cut into his body, blood soaking their blades, his blood on their blades, on their hands, bleeding like a wet cloth or even a sponge. He fell to his knees. Naruto was exhausted, beaten, and almost dead. It was then that a voice inside of his head told him to stand. As chakra came rushing throughout his body. This wasn't the Nine-Tails chakra, but instead, it was his own willpower. Naruto stood, his legs shivering, as it didn't matter. The general of the stone shinobi, who had actually been commanding them, his name, Kana. Kana spoke to Naruto in an interesting tone. Naruto Uzumaki, you fought here valiantly, I promise you, that will be remembered in Stone Shinobi history. That Naruto Uzumaki even challenged the great Kana in a battle to the death, defeating 600 shinobi in his wake. Naruto Uzumaki died valiantly in Esage Mountain. This place is called Esage Mountain? Yeah, actually it is. It's, never mind. I'm sorry about this, kid, but I've been instructed to kill you. And since every single time you've been getting up, I don't know how I'm gonna do that. In the most unviolent way possible. I'm not a maniac. Or some crazy guy. But one factor that always seems to be put into the reason why you stand is your legs. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to take those from you. Huh? My legs? No! No. Naruto couldn't react to the speed of Kana's blade, as Kana quickly cut Naruto's legs off. Naruto then slowly began to bleed out. And by slow, I do not mean slow. Slow for Naruto, but fast in terms of blood loss. Naruto was losing nearly 100 milliliters of blood each second. Which is, well, a lot. Since the body can really only has about, and I think this is an overstatement, but like 5 liters of blood in it, Naruto was losing blood at a rapid pace. It was then that Naruto realized it was over, and the Stone Shinobi had won. He heard their cheering. Their victory over Naruto. Ah! We've won! We beat Naruto Uzumaki, son of the 4th Hokage. Do you know what this means for all of us, men? Kana yelled out to all of them. It means that we are the fortune makers in this great war. We have defeated the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and the last pillar that the leaf could possibly hold on to. A vendetta that has been kept for decades now has been fulfilled by the Stone Village. We have defeated Naruto Uzumaki, the son of the the Yellow Flying Flash. Or as we call him, the Yellow Flash, the man who decimated our forces back in the war all those years ago. I was a mere boy when I first caught wind of Minato Namikaze, the Yellow Flash of the Hidden Leaf Village. And oh, does it feel good to enact revenge against his own son, since he is not here right now to feel his pain. He will feel pain through his lineage. We are victorious men, and we shall drink sake for nights to come. And when we return to the Stone Village, we will be seen as heroes. All of the Stone Village ninja that were present laughed at Naruto with pride, and at the situation itself. They had won. And there was nothing that could have beat that. Seriously speaking, they conquered a victory over Naruto. Whilst they did, in fact, lose, over 600 of their shinobi? They ended a long vendetta that had been kept for over a decade against Minato by enacting revenge against his own son. And many of the ninja fighting were close relatives or even children of the many people killed and slaughtered by Minato. So, let's just say their efforts were fruitful, to say the least. The weak, now permanently weakened by the loss of Naruto, hadn't actually realized what had happened. They hadn't even heard word of Naruto's supposed death. We now switch over to Naruto, who at this point is on his last legs. Quite literally, he has none. It sounds a little funny. With that being said, he lied there, as where they were, it began to snow. The frost and the cold began to give Naruto's body hypothermia, as it started to begin to preserve his nearly dead body. Naruto's eyes remained open as his eyelashes froze over from the extreme cold, and the frosted snow that fell onto his body felt warm all of a sudden. It was then that he sat here, nearly frozen in the snow/ice, that a man with black hair, going further than his shoulders, appeared. Wearing a robe, it was Orochimaru. Orochimaru, the snake Sannin. Naruto looked up at Orochimaru, his eyes moving slowly, as Orochimaru watched as Naruto's body completely froze over. It was then that Orochimaru would pick up Naruto's now frozen body, taking it back to his hideout. Long pause. Yeah, I know. I kind of did that on purpose. With that being said, Naruto would now be placed within a test tube, similar to the ones that we see Orochimaru use for people like Suigetsu. It would be here that he would be attached to a respirator, and his, well, let's just say wounds would be sewed up. With that being said, Orochimaru did manage to retrieve Naruto's Naruto's legs, quite literally. I was gonna say other legs, but they're literally his legs. But he did manage to retrieve them from the snowy battlefield. It was then that Naruto would awake after 25 days. No food and no water. He stared at Orochimaru inside of the walls of the test tube, his breath slow but determined to survive. Naruto looked at Orochimaru with a demeanor that could only be described as bold and steady. Huh. Orochimaru thought to himself, "You have finally awoken." Naruto began to blink, continuously and rapidly. Orochimaru was a little bit perplexed, but assumed that it was just a mere side effect of being asleep for so long and, well, also his eyes freezing over. Well, Naruto Uzumaki, it has been quite the rodeo for you, I've heard, in this past year or two. You entered the battlefield and immediately made a name for yourself among the many Hall of Famers within the Leaf Village, even amongst myself and the other Sannin. You, as a child, you made a name for yourself. That was when I heard of the Konoha 11, who had all done various things to also make names for themselves within this war. It was actually quite interesting to me to see how far the Leaf progressed. You don't know how much of a fire that lit within me, knowing that I would have a 1 in 11 chance, at least, to obtain one of the Konoha 11 in this war? Oh boy. They all showed so much potential. Even Choji, that Akamichi. Shikamaru, Nara, the lazy but strong and gifted boy. They all showed prowess, but none like Naruto Uzumaki, the former knucklehead ninja. Naruto continued to breathe strongly. I read your file. You failed the academy, 4 times? Before ever passing. Obviously, that is not really your fault, but it is still a fact. And to see you here now, a prodigy of sorts before me, trust me, nothing makes my heart throb more. Makes your heart throb? Yes. What exactly do you mean by that? I crave power. Jutsu, even. You being a Jinchuriki, I've never, ever been able to get my hands on one. So experimenting on you, maybe even cloning you, and using you as a vessel, well, that would do wonders for my research. And maybe eventually I could obtain Sasuke. It was then that Naruto would grasp on to his respiratory system, which allowed him to breathe, taking one final breath. It was then that he ripped it off. Now, only underwater. He continued to blink rapidly, knowing that he didn't have much time to breathe and that his lungs had all been but collapsed from his battle. With that, he would put together a few hand signs, using a water-style jutsu that allowed him to break out of the test tube. Naruto now walked onto the ground of the hideout. His body, completely cold. Shivering from the cold, he pointed his finger at Orochimaru. Sasuke Uchiha is not yours to get or to kill. He's mine to kill. You got that, Orochimaru? Do you understand me? You lousy snake. Oh, I understand you. But may I ask what sort of grudge you hold against Sasuke? That bastard butted in on me trying to save my friends. And though I believe I did succeed, he challenged me in a moment that was... He's mine to kill, okay? I'm not explaining it to you or anybody who wants to know. They weren't there. They don't deserve to know a single thing about why I hold this grudge against Sasuke. But he will die by my hand. I will have his blood on my hands. And I will smile. Naruto would fall on his knees and then later faceplant into the ground. Naruto would smirk, even whilst exhausted and beaten. It was then that Orochimaru would also smirk, smiling. He would place Naruto back into a test tube, this time inserting DNA of Hashirama Senju into Naruto's body. Orochimaru believed that through inserting this DNA, that Naruto would heal much faster than normal. And thus, he would be even more of the perfect vessel. Due to him knowing that the Uzumakis were a distant relative of the Senjus, he believed that he was not sacrificing Naruto's body, and that instead he would only be revitalizing it, remaking it in a perfect image of what he wanted it to be, rather than having the chance of destroying Naruto's body, which can happen if you insert Senju DNA into somebody's body. With that, Orochimaru would smirk, as 3 days later, Naruto woke again. This time, there was a microphone that allowed Naruto to directly communicate with Orochimaru through the test tube. Orochimaru, I feel different. What have you done to me? Have you given me one of those curse marks? Or some sort of Kekkei Genkai? A Kekkei Genkai I'm not sure of. You could have some form of wood release, but I'm not positive on that. Why would I have wood release? That is a jutsu subject to the first Hokage, who was long but past. Oh, I have inserted his DNA into your body. The very makeup of your DNA is changing and merging with Senju. The Uzumaki clan is a distant relative of the clan, so it will not do anything wrong to fray your DNA. You will still be Naruto Uzumaki, but this time, you will have Senju DNA within you. Anyways, it's only a matter of time before I do get to see the developments that it truly changes your body. In the ways it truly changes your body in, to keep it simple. I see. Well, you have fun with that. I'm leaving. Huh? And by that I mean going to bed. I don't have the strength to get out of this test tube again like I did before. My body's changing. Hopefully for the better. But when all's said and done, I won't leave. And before I do, I'll take your head, Orochimaru. I'll kill you in cold blood, and I'll return back to the Leaf Village. It's there that once I get my hands on Sasuke, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll do whatever my heart desires. Naruto, I can't hear you. Are you losing consciousness? Naruto, speak up. I could not hear a single word you said. Are you losing consciousness? Naruto drifted off into a deep but peaceful sleep. 27 days later. The Leaf Village has been affected violently by the loss of Naruto Uzumaki, whereas nearly every single nation attacks the Leaf Village day by day. Day in and day out, they lose countless people to the war, mostly civilian. It wasn't even a war against ninja anymore. It was just Leaf citizen against ninja at that point. Luckily for the Leaf Village, they had managed to evacuate most of its civilians to, well, lockdown centers around the village, which, well, gave most of the civilians a pretty good amount of protection. But for some of them, it did nothing. Because, again, day in and day out, the hideouts were being attacked. The lockdown centers were being attacked by enemy ninja who just, well, wanted to kill Leaf Shinobi, to put it lightly. And so, that's really what happened. It was a bloodbath as soon as Naruto being killed had spread. This war lasted for another 4 years. Now, that is a time skip. We have a time skip of 4 years at this point. I know, pretty big time skip, right? What has Naruto learned within this time skip? Well, for starters, Naruto's whole entire DNA makeup has completely been altered in a way. He now has the Sharingan. Wonder why? No, it is not because it was implanted into his eye. It was because it naturally formed within him due to Shin Uchiha's DNA. One of Orochimaru's many test subjects. Or in this case, experiments. With that being said, Naruto also learned wood release. I know, pretty big for him to learn. But yes, it is very possible to learn, and Naruto already having a little bit of Senju DNA within him allowed him to actually awaken this long-lost technique. With that being said, Naruto also in, well, this timeline has access to multiple other abilities. He now has every single chakra nature and is stronger than most I almost said Kage at this point in his life. With that being said, we now have to return to about 2 days before the end of the war. As I mentioned, this war went on for about 4 more years, but what happened 2 days before the end of the war? Well, it's really simple. Naruto decided to enact his revenge on the Leaf Village that day. But instead of revenge, he had come to peace with it. He didn't want to kill Sasuke anymore. He wanted to see his best friend again. And thus, he set out to the Leaf Village, not before killing Orochimaru in the most gruesome of ways and freeing the people in Orochimaru's hideout so that they could truly taste what freedom was. Although he released many bad people, he released good people who didn't need to be held captive, or in prison, or in his hideouts. Death rings, even, which is something that Orochimaru actually had, where he'd have people fight each other to the death, and one would obtain the curse mark. With that being said, Naruto was on his way to the Leaf Village. And as he traveled to the Leaf Village, he would stop himself. Feeling a strong presence of lightning style, he would speed up, using lightning style to actually propel himself further. It was then that he grabbed onto his blade. To give a retrospective on how strong Naruto is, he is far stronger than even the 4th Raikage. With that, there in front of Naruto stood the Leaf Village. Upon entering it, the heart of the Leaf Village was completely torn apart. It resembled Pain's invasion, actually, but just the heart of the Leaf Village, not everywhere else in the village. He saw many people fighting, but most notably was the 4th Raikage and Killer Bee fighting Lord Third and Sasuke Uchiha. With that, they had actually started to get overpowered, and thus Hiruzen, in his even more old age than the canon, was about to die. Sasuke as well in this situation, who has been holding his own against 2 more than Kage level ninja. With that, they continued to fight valiantly, but it really was to no avail once more. Killer Bee now stood atop Sasuke, and the Raikage now was about to thrust his hand through Hiruzen with lightning style and electricity. It was then that Naruto appeared in a black robe, covering his face. Stop right there. 4th Raikage A and 8 Tails Jinchuriki, Killer Bee. What? Who are you? A would reply, as Killer Bee was surprised to how the person knew who they were, and really just who was under the robe. I am a harbinger of peace. I do not wish for conflict. Then, if you are this harbinger of peace, leave, and you will not have to see the war that is taking place currently. Well, as you also may know, peace can sometimes only be attained through war, through death, through pain and suffering of many people. So if you do not get your hands off both of them, you will both pay the price and die. Huh? Die? Yes, you heard me completely right. You will die. I don't think you know who you're speaking to. It was in that moment that A's body completely burst with electricity. As for Killer Bee, 4 tails of the 8 tails' chakra were now visible at his back. I don't know who you are, or what these 2 people mean to you, but they're dead. You either leave right now, or you'll end up just like them. And I promise you, me and my little brother B over here, we don't spare people kindly. Actually, it's rare. So, I am telling you this out of respect for these 2 people and what they may mean to you. Leave now or you will share their fate. Naruto would brandish his blade, lifting up his robe only on its arm area, as it was basically covering his arm. So he was basically, the robe covered his entire body, and he was lifting up the sleeve of the robe to reveal markings, scars, tattoos, it didn't matter. Everything. All over him. They all meant something else. Naruto would then bite down on his finger until it bled. It was then that he would wipe the blood across his arm, as he would say, summoning jutsu, Kurama's katana. A thick white spume of smoke would appear, as the sword was now visible in Naruto's hand, different than the one that he had brandished just seconds ago. Kurama's katana, Killer Bee thought to himself, as B would then enter his own subconscious. Hey, Eight Tails. Yes, B. By the way, I am not rapping for B's character. That's not happening. I'm sorry if you wanted me to rap for his character. It's not happening. B is just gonna, for the most part, talk like somebody normally. Okay? Just to be clear here. I would love to do that, but I just can't. With that being said, Naruto now watched as Killer Bee's demeanor changed. He was there in that moment, physical and spiritual, but it seemed like something was missing from B. The same way where it feels like something's missing from Naruto when he's talking to his own tail beast. So Naruto had the hunch that Killer Bee was talking to the Eight-Tails, Yuki. With that being said, Killer Bee and Yuki continued to conversate. You told me a story a long time ago about, the Nine-Tails and how his name is Kurama? Is that true? Yeah, what does that matter? Have you finally met the Nine-Tails? Is he a rowdy fellow? Just kidding, that was a rhetorical question. I know you haven't met the Nine-Tails, or you... Well, I would already know that you've met him if you have. Just trust me on that one. Oh, don't you worry, I trust you. But... I'm fighting someone, or I might be soon. And they just summoned a blade, and they referenced it as Kurama's katana. I just thought that was kind of weird, so, yeah, I'm gonna get going. Goodbye, Yuki. Bye, B. And stay safe. If they are the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, they possess unimaginable strengths. I see. Alright. With that being said, it would be here that we have a flashback. Further than just a measly 2 days, but instead, an entire 4 years. Before Orochimaru had stumbled across Naruto's body, Naruto had actually continued to lie in the cold, and 2 people appeared, Killer Bee and the Raikage, with another member of the Cloud Village with them. It was then, recognizing there and then that Naruto was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, that they would use a seal to extract half of the Nine-Tails' chakra. In the original timeline, this would only be 25% of the Nine-Tails' chakra, but in this timeline, it's still 25%. The Nine-Tails in Naruto's body in this timeline is much stronger because it is the full Nine-Tails, and that was all that the Raikage and Killer Bee could extract together and place into the Cloud Shinobi that they were with, without literally having to sacrifice their own lives, or in the process killing the Cloud Shinobi. With that being said, this means that this Naruto now has 75% of the Nine-Tails left within him, and also that this Naruto has encountered the 4th Raikage in Killer Bee. That's kind of how he knew who they were. With that being said, Naruto felt unimaginable pain from that, and it actually gave him a lot of trauma from that moment. Quite literally experiencing a part of himself leaving, being stripped away from him and ripped out of his body, right from his stomach, and placed into somebody else. It was unbearably painful. With that being said, Naruto Uzumaki is here in this moment. So we switch back to the flashback that was just 2 days ago, before the war had fully ended. Naruto now latched onto Kurama's katana, a blade that he quite literally forged with the chakra of the Kyuubi itself. To be noted, Naruto has near full control over the Nine Tails at this point in time, and can access over 7 of its tails. Both of you better watch out, because if you two don't move, it's gonna be a bloodbath. A would smirk. Bloodbath my ass. Disappearing and reappearing as he would attempt to use a Liger Bomb on Naruto, who would disappear and reappear, slamming his foot down onto A, who would fall to the ground. Now pointing Naruto's katana to A's back, right where his heart would be. Naruto would smirk, tilting his head. Are you sure you want to play this game, Killer B? Or should I call you A-Tails? You what? Should I play this game or not? Where you will undoubtedly decide that, I'm bluffing, and then you'll attack me, maybe even try to off-guard me, create a shadow clone, I don't know, do something that's quite, I don't know how to say it, but smart? I think that's good enough to describe it. You'd think that you'd be smart in doing whatever you'd attempt, and then I would just kill your older brother. I don't think any of us want that here. Though it would be beneficial to the village, wouldn't it? What do you think I should do, Killer B? Killer B was silent, as Naruto would smirk. You took too long to answer. I'm gonna assume that you would retaliate with blood. Naruto would then slowly plunge his blade into A's back, breaking through his lightning armor, as A looked up at Naruto in utter shock. It's you! It's him, B! The man that we extracted the Nine Tails from! All those years ago. 4 years ago, nearing the start of the war, remember? When we found that boy who we recognized? Oh, him. How is he alive? He was missing 2 limbs last time we saw him. His legs were stripped from his body, and he was bleeding out in the cold. How is he here right now? I surrender, we surrender. Is that the truth? B, do you surrender? And 4th Raikage A, do you surrender? They both would nod. Naruto would then twist his blade before removing it from the Raikage's body. Huh. Well, you finally remember me. The boy all those years ago that you took the Nine Tails from is nearly a man now. How does it feel to be beaten? Also, out of curiosity, where is the current Nine Tails Jinchuriki? I'm a little bit curious, and I also want to return the Kyuubi to its rightful honor. Huh? During those 4 years since the last time we met, I've learned many things. Sealing jutsus, summoning jutsus. I've even, for God's sakes, had my limbs reattached. I did not come here to track you guys down, just to have to go through the trouble of having to find where the current Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails is. I want the fragment of the Nine Tails that is within him to belong to me once more. And who knows? He may not even die if he's in Uzumaki. But you weren't thinking that far into it, were you? I don't even think that you chose a strong clan to hold this current Jinchuriki, did you? Huh. That sucks, doesn't it? Because extracting it will only kill, what, an esteemed Jonin at this point? I'd assume he's a Jonin, or it was a waste of the Kyuubi. Huh. Well, unfortunately for you, that's just about what I'm gonna be doing. And B would have no choice but to tell them where the current Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tails was. Naruto would disappear and reappear. Before doing so, he would tell Hiruzen and Sasuke to make sure that they don't go anywhere. With that being said, he would fly into the wind using the body flicker jutsu, appearing at C's exact location. C, it's been so long. Wow, you've really grown up. Naruto would pull off his hood on his robe, revealing his face. Wait, I never forget a face. Are you? You're the one that we took the Nine-Tails from 4 years ago, right? If it's anything you need, I... Yes, it's Naruto Uzumaki in the flesh. And as for the, part about if it's anything I need, yeah, there is one thing, actually. I'm gonna need what you stole from me. Huh? What are you talking about? Dude, what else did you steal from me? No, you didn't, steal my flip-flops. You took something more important than mere flip-flops or sandals or even my DNA. What you took from me was... a piece of the Nine-Tails that I'm gonna need returned to me, see? You understand the predicament I'm in here, don't you? What? No. If you do that, then I'll die. That's the point, see? I will be killing you. But beforehand, I will be taking the Kyuubi. The rest of it, that is. I can't let you do that, Naruto. I'm sorry. I can only imagine what that felt like. You had no legs when I first saw you. And already under that much pain, your Biju ripped right out of you. Yeah, that must have felt like hell. And so, I am sorry. I really am. But... a piece of me is saying that I shouldn't be sorry. That it's your fault. That it's my fault. Why is that? Because you ended up in the stupid war that we're about to end. If you look around, you see that the Cloud is winning here. We're gonna kill the third Hokage, and the stupid fifth Hokage as well. Huh? The fifth Hokage? Yeah. You probably haven't heard about it since you've been gone for so long. I'm assuming this is the first time you've seen the village in, 4 years? But they adopted a new thing where they'll have 2 Kages at any given moment. At this moment, it's the third Hokage, Hiruzen, and his subordinate, Jiraiya, as the fifth Hokage. There are also 2 acting subordinate Hokages. 2 acting subordinate Hokages? Yes. For Hiruzen, it is Sasuke Uchiha. And for Jiraiya, the 5th Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, it is Tsunade, although I haven't really seen much of her. We hear from the Cloud Village that she mostly gambles and drinks, but she is the representative subordinate Hokage. I see. The leaf truly has changed since I've been gone. And this war, if the 4th Raikage and Killer Bee were to die, would that mean that the Leaf Village would win the fight? Yes, but that's not going to happen. You're wrong. I will kill them both. I assure you. Either that or we will reach a ceasefire. But before that, see, I'm gonna need your part of the Nine-Tails. My part of the Nine-Tails? I already told you. All 5 of Naruto's fingertips now lit a blue glow. You see, a while back, I had a mentor, you could say. His name was Orochimaru. He was one of the many Sannin that now rule in the Leaf Village. He taught me a certain sealing jutsu that would work if I ever had to subdue the Nine Tails. But what it also would allow me to do is take back the Nine Tails from you, see. He knew of the fact that you stripped a piece of the Nine Tails away from me, and he believed that if we were ever to meet, that I should have a right to getting my power back. So he taught me this seal, a 5 tentagram seal. No way I'm handing it over to you. No way! C's body then lit an eminent orange glow as Naruto's jaw dropped for a moment. So this is the power I could attain if I fully mastered the Kyuubi. Great. Naruto then slammed his palm into C mid-transformation as Naruto would begin to rip the Kyuubi out of C's body. C's version of the Kyuubi would fully be pulled out of C and then distributed back into Naruto's body as C would then stand still. Naruto's 5 tentagram seal would dissipate as Naruto would smirk. Well, how are you? C. I truly do wonder, how does it feel to be stripped of your Jinchuriki? Imagine you took all of the tailed beast within me away. I probably would have died. But thanks to me being in Uzumaki, I live here right now. I suppose not all of us are gifted with the blood of an Uzumaki. But then again, see, not all of us are gifted with the ability to harness the Nine Tails' power in the first place. So be grateful that your body was not rejected by Kurama, and instead funneled through him. Unfortunately, this is the end of the road. And Kurama's katana, my blade, well, he kinda wants a bite to eat. And since he prefers to, let's just say, eat Biju, the remaining fragments of the chakra of the Nine Tails within you will do for his taste. Naruto would then rush quickly past C, cutting through. And that is how you kill a Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. Biju Slayer, Kurama's katana. Naruto would then pack his blade away, this time brandishing it on his back, as he would walk back over to Killer B and A. If you two agree to a ceasefire, then, and only then will this war end. If you do not agree, then I will kill you, both of you, and end the war myself. The 8 tails within you will be given to Sasuke Uchiha, subdued with a genjutsu. Killer B and, well, of course, the 4th Hokage A were now faced with a detrimental decision. In their case, they were surrounded by multiple Kage-level ninja. Multiple meaning 2. Obviously, the 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, but next to him stood Sasuke Uchiha, and of course, the fated Naruto Uzumaki, who now possessed the full Nine Tails within him. Their forces have now been diminished. They no longer have the Nine Tails under their control, or at least a fragment of it. And if they do not agree to a ceasefire, then they will be killed. If they do agree to a ceasefire, then they will forever be looked down upon as a village. And, well, their names will be forever tarnished by this great loss. The Raikage and A both thought it over. Ray knew it. I just said Ray. I am completely and absolutely sorry about that. With that being said, I'm not really going to edit that out because this video has gotten way too long. Which is okay. It's okay to get this long, but I just can't afford to edit this video at this point. So please forgive me for that. With that being said, A now stared down Naruto. As Naruto would blink, it was then that he looked around, and B was gone. B now held a sword, or rather a dagger, to Naruto's neck. It was then that Naruto began to think, what would his move be? What would his next move be? And then he began to think some more. What would Orochimaru do? He thought about it for some time. Really? Relying on what his former master would do? Would he want that? Would he want to do that? And thus, Naruto rethought about it. Before realizing that Hiruzen and Sasuke stood before him, now pointing their own blades to the Raikage's neck. Killer Blee. It sounded like Killer Blee, but I promise it was Killer Bee. Killer Bee proceeded to continue to lay his blade on Naruto's neck as Sasuke would begin to speak. The fourth Raikage, A. Pretty important to the Cloud Village, if I do say so myself. But even more so, he's important to you, B. So if you want him alive, you're going to have to let Naruto go. B flaunted that if they didn't let him go now, then Naruto's life would end. But they called his bluff, as they pressed their blades deeper into A's neck. Fine, B said to himself, as he dropped his dagger to the floor. Naruto then rose his fist, slamming it directly into B's face, as B would begin to pass out, falling down onto the ground. That's for threatening my life, Eight Tails. Naruto would then unleash Kurama's katana, as he would slam it right down into Killer Bee's chest. Killer Bee would immediately awaken. Blood began to pour from the wound, as Eight Tails' chakra flooded to the source of the income. Or rather, I said source of the income, but rather the source of impact. Or rather, area of impact. With that being said, Naruto was now very, very much so in pain. Naruto was only in pain because for some odd reason, the Eight Tails chakra had done something that Naruto had never seen any Biju chakra do. It had quite literally attacked Naruto. It had materialized into some sort of Biju chakra weapon and inflicted pain amongst Naruto. Though this pain was somewhat unbearable, Naruto managed to fight through it, so to speak. With that being said, Naruto then let out a sigh. That was quite the move you pulled there, B. Well, you shoved the blade through my chest. What else was I supposed to do? Hey, I never said you were fighting dirty. All I said was I've never seen the move before. And that it was quite the move. Why'd you do that anyway? You had me beat already. You saw me pass out, didn't you? I sure as hell felt myself pass out. You're right. I did see you pass out. Every last second of it. But what you're wrong about is the fact that, well, I had you beat. Because I did not. I didn't have you beat until I collected your chakra for Kurama's katana. You see, have you ever heard of the blade, the Samehada? Yeah. The Mist Village. They were in possession of it. Before Kisame, the current wielder of it, disappeared, right? Yes, that is quite true. Well, Kurama's katana acts in a similar way. It feeds on chakra of others. Unfortunately, it can only feast on the highest amounts of chakra, or the blade could risk self-destructing itself. From the inside out, it could completely shatter. So, maybe you've already figured, but would you like to finish my sentence for me? How exactly, or rather, what kind of chakra Kuroma's katana prefers? Yeah, I think I know. What kind of chakra is it, B? Biju chakra. He likes to feed on Biju chakra, doesn't it? Bingo. He likes to feed on Biju chakra because it's the highest density of chakra. It's far denser than normal people's chakra, and, well, let's just say there's no shortage of it. Because, well, the katana I hold is quite the glutton, if I do say so myself. I see. Well, do you ever plan on taking the blade out? I can feel the chakra subsiding. Well, if that's the case, I wouldn't want to drain you dry. Naruto would then unsheath the blade from, well, inside of Killer Bee, placing it back in its sheath, as he would seal the blade away within a small scroll that Naruto kept at his side. Well, as for you, Fourth Raikage, do you surrender? A looked at B. They both stared intently into one another's eyes, as B looked down to the ground, shaking his head in agreement. It was then that A rose to speak, using lightning armor against him, just in case Lord Third or Sasuke took it as a threat and decided to end his life. I strictly declare that I, A, the Fourth Raikage, and my brother, B, the Eight-Tailed Jinchuriki, surrender. Naruto would smirk. A ceasefire. Exactly what I wanted. Now instruct all of your ninja, every single one of your subordinates, to put down their weapons. Or execution. Execution. It's a ceasefire. Are you unfamiliar with what a ceasefire is? No, are you? No. But if they continue to persist, we will execute them. A then rose to speak again. All of you, ninja of the cloud, put your weapons down. I order you now. Those who were currently in combat continued to fight, clashed once more, and then ended their battles. Those who were severely exhausted, on their last legs or even on their knees by this point, immediately fell to the ground of exhaustion, face planting or back planting into the ground. Naruto was pleased. It was then that Naruto thought to himself, well, how exactly? Naruto would disappear. He now stood in between all of the ninja who were fighting. And mostly now all of the ninja that had since collapsed. I am Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. I come to you as a member of the Hidden Leaf Village. Albeit to those ninja who fight who recognize me. You probably have not seen my face in some time. The son of the Fourth Hokage. Some of the Cloud Ninja gasped. I come to you now as not a boy, but a ninja who has gone through great peril. I have had limbs torn. No, I've been torn, limb from limb, in the past. I've survived the cold of the land of iron. And now, here before you, I have triumphed in battle. I have beaten A, the Raikage. A grit his teeth upon hearing the words, as B knew it was to come, surely his name. And I have also beaten the likes of Killer B, the eighth-tailed beastess Jinchuriki. You see, I, Naruto Uzumaki, have conquered them all. And through that, we have agreed to a ceasefire. All of you Cloud Ninja are aware of what Ace said. And that is why you no longer battle with my people. You no longer battle with the people of the Hidden Leaf Village. In time, I truly do hope that all of you can become my people. Not that all of you can be absorbed into the Leaf Village like some stupid, huge, gigantic village, but instead that all of you can agree to peace. That we can agree to be one with each other. That all the same, we can hold each other's hands in peace, instead of great peril. You know? You understand, don't you? Maybe even just some of the words I'm saying. The Cloud Ninja stood there, as most of the Leaf Ninja were beyond exhaustion, and had small grins on their faces. It is with great bliss that I, Naruto Uzumaki, declare that the Fourth Great Ninja War is over! Naruto's words, his voice even, echoed through the cloud as if they were in a gigantic cave. Upon hitting each of their ears, not a single one of them remained standing. They all fell to the ground of exhaustion. It was then that Naruto looked to A and B. You two did well in surrendering today. We've put an end to a war. We have made it so that no more children will have to experience the face of death. And to those that have, we will ensure that they recover from this great loss. You two, I do not mean to instruct you, but you will go back to your villages. And you will all smile at the joy that this war has ended. You will instruct your ninja just as you had before. You will prepare them for war if you wish. But I hope that we can come to an agreement in the future. No, not the future. I wish to come to an agreement with the Cloud Village now. Naruto would hold out his hand to the Cloud Village. As the 6th Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, I, Naruto Uzumaki, ask for peace between the Cloud and Leaf Village, an allied force, if you will. The air grew silent, as silent as the audio recording did. With that being said, Lightning Chakra now bustled around A, and Biju Chakra now began to form around Killer B. Fine, we agree, Killer B said, making the decision without A, as A would now outstretch his own hand, with B doing the same. Naruto then shook both of their hands in unison, crossing his hands. With a clap of hands, they had made a truce with the Hidden Leaf Village. It was then that they left the scene, gathering their men and heading home to the Cloud Village. I know you don't care. Well, I don't really. Yeah. So, I was in my brother's room. Don't ask why I'm recording something. And Darius is on the phone with a certain Lily. Yeah. So, 1 second. I was recording something and my eyes were just looking around the room. And my brother, he told me already that he was stealing my Halloween candy. But he did not tell me where. So I didn't even know if he still had it on him. But he hid it inside of here. And now it's like all out and about. So I am going to take it back to my room when I'm done recording. But hi, Cameron. How are you? With that being said, when the air finally cleared, the 3rd Raikage spoke. Naruto, you proclaimed yourself as the 6th Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. Without any proper recognition, without any proper go-ahead. Why? You see, Lord 3rd, Forgive me for my arrogance and insolence, but I have fought tooth and nail for this village. I've sacrificed myself more times than I have fingers to count. Sasuke would speak, intervening. He's right. That's true. If it weren't for Naruto, Choji, Shikamaru, Ino, Sakura, Shino, me, and every other member of the Konoha 11 would all be nothing but a pile of ashes by now. Bones. We would be dead. Is that so? You never told me of this. Well, how could I? On the night that Naruto disappeared from the village, never to return again until today, he had sacrificed himself for us. So you abandoned Naruto Uzumaki, the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki. Is that what you're telling me? No. I stayed. I stayed to help my best friend. But he knocked me out, and a shadow clone of his delivered me safely back to the Hidden Leaf Village. I see. Well, isn't that an interesting predicament? Yeah, you're right about that. Actually, you could say that again. It is a very interesting predicament to find oneself in. Naruto, you were not finished speaking. I would like to hear the rest of your great statement. Excuse me for my rudeness, Lord Third, Sasuke said under his breath, with Lord Third taking a glance at Sasuke and then back at Naruto. Continue, Naruto Uzumaki. The consequences for my actions on that day specifically led to me being decimated by forces, by many ninja. Actually, my limbs were eventually stripped from my body. And I was quite literally killed, unfortunately. Is that so? How do you stand here before me now? Because I was taken in by Lord... No. I was taken in by the snake Sannin Orochimaru. By Lord Orochimaru? The snake Sannin that abandoned our village. Did Jiraiya not instruct you to run on sight of him? He did, and so I tried. But my body gave in. I was too weak. I had quite literally died. But he saved me. Using some form of an advanced technology, he saved my cold, frozen body from the brink of death. If not from death itself. I see. So even though I hate him more than anything, I owe him thanks for saving my life. I returned to the Leaf Village as I stand here before you. And in the Leaf Village's greatest peril, if not one of them at least, I saved it. From the fourth Raikage and Killer Bee, you two were about to die. I saved you. My childhood dream was to become Hokage. If I do say so myself, I'm pretty qualified for it. I can train for it if I have to. I can do whatever test you need me to take. Whether it's a written exam or a test of kindness, or I can have the people warm up to me in their hearts. I can do whatever it is to become Hokage. And so I'm sorry that I felt it right to express my childhood dream as a reality. But I did. And there's nothing you can do about that now. We'll move on. If I can't become the Hokage, then I understand. Save it. Lord Third said under his breath, as Naruto continued to go. But I am devoted to becoming the sixth Hokage. I'll do just about anything to obtain the role. I'll sacrifice my life. I'll bite tooth and nail. But I must become the sixth Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. I need to see my face on that mountain. If it's the last thing I do in life. Naruto pointed to the great mountain wall of the Hidden Leaf Village. It was then that Hiruzen said it louder. Save it, Naruto! Huh? Naruto wondered. I declare you the sixth Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. It only makes sense. Never mind the fact that your father was Lord Fourth. Sorry. Has this battle gotten you a little bit daisy, Hiruzen? Sasuke remarked under his breath. No, but your insolence has. Hiruzen continued to murmur. Naruto smiled, with Sasuke doing the same. Hiruzen even cracked a bit of a smile before pulling out a pipe and beginning to smoke. Lord Third, just when you were beginning to ease up on the cigarettes. Now this, a pipe? Ugh. You cease to amaze me. What can I say? An old man has their vices. Yeah. What can you say? With that being said, this is the end of the What If, in all seriousness. If you did make it this far into the video, then thank you so much. I appreciate it. I have a lot of videos that I want to come out this November. Hopefully they do, because December is right across the corner. And some of you may not know this about this channel, but December is this channel's month. December, things are, let's just say, extraordinary in December. And so I do not want to change that. And also, December kind of marks the 2 to 3 year anniversary of my channel. Just to point that out a little. Well, actually, it's this month in November that marks the 2 or 3 year anniversary. I really can't remember right now. But it's November. But in December, that's when I truly found a passion for this. So, yeah, if you got this far, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, as it would be deeply appreciated. I hope you guys did enjoy. With that being said, this has been Rami X. Some key points in this video. Well, at the start, obviously, there was the 4th Great Ninja War, this time earlier than in canon. Just to close off any plot points or plot holes, the Akatsuki are diminished. I just wanted to make that clear. Zetsu has to wait for a new set of Indra and Asura reincarnations, because these two, well, let's just say, are not at odds with one another at all, and Zetsu cannot manipulate Sasuke nor Naruto. Zetsu actually did attempt, and he is now deceased. You see, Zetsu attempted to try and sway Sasuke, and Sasuke, knowing that Zetsu was someone who he, well, didn't really like at all and wasn't going to side with, told Naruto about it. So the next time that Sasuke met Zetsu, he ambushed Zetsu with Naruto. And Zetsu is now dead, meaning that even though he does have to wait for the next set of Indra and Asura reincarnations, he can't, because he is deceased. With that being said, everything else, some key points in this video that happened, like I was saying, or about to mention before. Well, for instance, Naruto conquered death. He was quite literally frozen. His heart stopped, and he was brought back to life by Orochimaru. He became an apprentice of Orochimaru. He abandoned Orochimaru. And I can't remember, since I've read so far through this, or read. I haven't read anything. This video was completely off-scripted. But I was going to pretend like it was on script. Anyways, I can't remember, but I believe that he also killed Orochimaru. So, presto to Naruto. All these weird words, I'm so sorry. With that being said, yeah. He saved the Konoha 11. He defeated Killer Bee and the 4th Hokage, and with that being said, Naruto triumphed death, and he went on to live an amazing life with Hinata Hyuga at his side. The only person who Naruto actually had love and admiration for at this point in time. With that being said, they went on to have 2 children, just like in the original timeline. Himawari, oh my god, I'm so sorry about that. Himawari Uzumaki and Boruto Uzumaki. With that being said, I hope you guys did all enjoy. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Comment down below your thoughts and feelings about the video. Hit the link in the description down below if you do wish to join my Discord server. There's also a link down there to support the channel in other ways, like PayPaling me money so that I can continue to make these wonderful videos for you guys, and basically just upgrade my setup and things like that, just to make these videos more smooth and crisp for you guys. With that being said, this is Rami X. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe button if I haven't mentioned that already, which I already did a few times. And Rami X out.